Hello, everybody. This is Martha Hines with Living the One Light. So today I just want to briefly let you know about a workshop that I am offering next Tuesday, February 28th. That is also going to be available indefinitely, the recording of it. And it is a workshop that I have been wanting to hold for several months now because I feel like it just needs to be out there, basically. It is a workshop called Trauma-Informed Basics for Astrologers and Healers. And the reason I felt really called to offer this is because I do have a substantial background in trauma-informed work in the child welfare system, as a child therapist, as a working with families, children in the child welfare system. And I was an adoption social worker for a long time. I was a psychotherapist, and I worked in the juvenile court system with child welfare cases, doing mental health assessments and recommendations to the court around child abuse and neglect and all of that kind of thing. So I have many years of that background there. So this workshop is not meant to be therapy. It is not meant to be clinical training. But what I want to do is just give some very basic, simple do's and don'ts around how to address trauma, how to safely navigate it, both for yourself as a practitioner and for your clients. So, this workshop really is for you if you are someone who is a healer or an astrologer, or you're doing any kind of helping work where you don't necessarily have that official training as a therapist, and you're not trying to be a therapist, but the work you do inevitably brings up trauma, because we all have trauma. All people do, of some kind, either minor or major or acute or ongoing or all of the above. So in just about any healing or helping profession, trauma is going to arise. And I have seen in my time studying and working in astrology and as a healer that some people are very comfortable handling trauma that arises with clients, and some people are not, and that's totally normal. That's totally natural, because it takes a lot of training and it takes a lot of experience to have a sense of how to handle situations that might come up. And so what I want to say in this video is that one of the reasons I feel so passionately about people having just some of the basic do's and don'ts is because all of us who are in these kind of helping roles only have good intentions. I mean, truly, I can say for myself, I'm pretty sure I have good intentions, and I'm pretty darn sure you have great intentions too. And even with some of my really close friends who are astrologers or healers who have these wonderful intentions, I've seen them make some pretty big mistakes, or what I would call pretty big mistakes. So, and the thing that I know from my background that I'm not sure that is really obvious necessarily for people who don't have that background is if we misstep, even with good intentions, if we misstep in our approach to handling the trauma with our clients, it can have extremely devastating effects for them and actually even for ourselves. So that's one of the things I want to talk about in this workshop. But just like to give you the gist of it, so I can convey why it's so important, is, for example, anybody with any kind of addiction history can be very easily triggered into relapse by bringing up trauma or delving into trauma in a way that isn't handled carefully. So yeah, one of the risks of mishandling trauma is very, very real risk of unintentionally triggering a relapse of addiction of any kind. That's huge. Another huge potential danger is triggering people's sense of suicidal ideation, people's depression, anxiety. It can actually hurt them. Again, totally unintentionally, completely with the best of intentions there. And then another danger that I think is really important to talk about is for ourselves. So there's a whole set of things that I want to talk about in this workshop around secondary trauma and countertransference. So the way that we as practitioners are impacted or triggered by whatever might arise in our work with clients. And, there's a lot of talk about compassion fatigue. That's a real thing. That is absolutely real. I've experienced it big time when I was a social worker in particular. And it can have actual, not only emotional, but physical effects on you, on us, on any person in a helping role, whether it's professionally or in our personal lives, right? So, and that impact on us of that compassion fatigue and the secondary trauma can be very subtle and can kind of creep up on us in a way that I've had that happen, years ago in my own life. Again, when I was in this very intense social work job, doing that for years and years and years, I would suddenly just it felt like out of nowhere, realize, whoa, I am exhausted. I feel like numb all of a sudden. I would, just suddenly go, whoa, where are my feelings? Like, where are my emotions? It's just gone. And normally I'm an extremely empathetic, compassionate person, but I would just hit this point where it just literally was gone and it would scare me. So, that's compassion fatigue. That's the secondary trauma popping up. And again, it can come on really, really slowly and subtly, and then boom, it feels like it's out of nowhere. So that's another aspect of things that I want to talk about in this workshop. Because it's really, really, really important, again, to handle all of this in a way that feels really safe and nurturing for the clients, but then also for us. And we have our own traumas, right? And those inevitably get triggered just by life, and certainly by hearing, talking with someone else about their trauma. So I want to dive in a bit to transference and countertransference and how that can arise in sessions and in work with people in various ways, and how you can navigate that, how you can identify it, how you can distinguish what's their feeling and what's my feeling, what's truly alive in me, what's me being triggered in my own stuff versus me having natural empathy for what's going on for them, or both. How do you distinguish that in your body and yourself? That's something that I think just develops over a long period of time, and I have a ton of experience with that. So so again, it's not meant to be therapy. It's not meant to be clinical training. It's meant to be an introduction to the basic do's and don'ts from my perspective on how to safely navigate all of this, navigate life with your clients, and help support them in the best way possible that's going to help them thrive and help you thrive. And so I just want to be a resource for that, basically, is what it comes down to. And this workshop is part of that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at livingtheonelight@gmail.com. My website is livingtheonelight.com. And you can sign up for the workshop in the link on this video. And I think that's it. Again, reach out with any questions. The workshop itself will be live on Tuesday, February 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European time. But it will be recorded and it will be relevant always. So you can sign up and have the recording whenever. I'm also open to doing, one-on-one consultations and or group consultations. So if that's something that calls to you, I'm happy to offer that over time in the future or now, or it's something I'm open to. And so if that interests you, reach out for that as well. Okay. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.